Everyone, it's that time again. Please take some seats because we are about to have everything you've ever wanted to know about lead generation. Curt, take it away.
Yeah, lead gen. Hello, everybody. I'm Curt. I'm the VP of Business Development here at Everflow, and I'm really excited for this panel. We have some of the best and brightest minds in the lead gen space that's going to be dropping tons of knowledge bombs here, so I'm really excited to have this conversation. With that, if you guys wouldn't mind introducing yourself, just telling us who you are, a little background on you, and we'll get the party started. And we'll start with Jim.
So Jim Mansfield, CEO of notifyAI. We're a push notification platform. We kind of specialize within the lead gen space. My background is 20 years in the industry, email marketing and mobile app downloads at a few companies.
Been around.
Been around.
All right, good deal. Simon.
Simon, CEO of Databowl. Databowl is a lead management system. We work with a lot of lead generators and lead buyers. Similar to Jim, I've been in lead gen since 2006. Been a buyer, seller, generator, all of it, and obviously now provide technology.
Excellent. Great.
How you doing? I'm Andrew. I'm from What If Media Group. First of all, I just want to thank Everflow for having all of us here. Sam, Kamwar, Jonathan, wherever you are. Third time doing this now. Should have done it 2 years ago, but we couldn't. So appreciate everyone having us here. Looking forward to next year as well. What If Media Group, we're a lead generation company. We own and operate 25 plus websites, doing over 500,000 registrations a day. We're a big email marketer, SMS publisher, push notification publisher, and we do a lot of data and voice business as well. So,
awesome. All right, let's do it. So, what would you guys say needs to be in place before you even start thinking about a lead generation campaign and starting everything? So let's start with Jim on the traffic side. Like, what do you start thinking about before you even do any sort of campaigns?
Yeah, as far as traffic for lead gen, I think the first stop is Google or Facebook. If your campaign has the right compliance and the right type of lead gen, you can buy on those platforms. Further, you can scale through platforms like us. We're kind of native push traffic. Taboola, Outbrain, also good sources. Then you have affiliates as well, email, SMS are popular traffic sources for lead gen.
Are any of those sources your favorite, or you just run the gamut there?
Well, we're push, so we're our favorite source. So.
There we go. See, trying to get a plug
yeah.
for
you. we operate on a lot of big lead gen websites in the space, so we're collecting users from lead gen, and we're sending that traffic back to people like Andrew. Andrew's a big advertiser of ours.
You guys have worked together for what, like a couple months, yeah?
We've known each other for 15 years, yeah.
Good deal.
Through different companies.
Yeah, cool. And then Andrew, from an advertiser standpoint, like what needs to be in place before you start running your campaigns?
So it's important understanding what you're looking for. If it's a TCPA lead, and for everyone that doesn't know what TCPA is, it's the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. That is the legislation that basically allows us to sell a lead to a call center for that call center to auto dial it using a dialer. So you got to make sure that if you're doing TCPA, that you have the proper TCPA language, checkbox, etc. And then also having compliance around it using Janaya, using trusted form or active prospect. But depending on what you're doing, what type of campaign, targeting, setting up that as Jim said, the traffic source, if we know it's coming from email marketing or if we know it's coming from push notifications, and then making sure that you take that data and you're putting it in the right places. And I know Simon over here with his platform is a way to do that.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
So what do you, from your perspective, what needs to be in place before you start running a lead gen campaign?
Yeah, so I could talk about the software, but obviously
Plug
being
it, man.
transparent. The most important thing is like, what is the end goal, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to figure out, is it going to be a sale? Is it a marketing lead? So for lead generators, they obviously want to sell leads. For lead buyers, they want sales. And so it's really important to define exactly what the end goal is and then work backwards from there. Because the biggest mistake you see in lead gen is, hey, we're just going to like generate a bunch of leads, hope for the best. They're like marketing qualified leads. They've gone into a sales channel. Conversion rates tank. So number one thing is work from the end goal backwards.
Awesome. Good deal. Fun fact, you can track all the downstream stuff with Everflow, so you know that it is good quality. But anyways, Andrew, you had mentioned when you were setting up the campaign, like if the traffic is coming from email or push, you do different things. How do you differentiate the offer or the setup based on the traffic type there?
It's quality. For example, if we're working with a company like Retail Me Not, and we're signing up people to join their newsletter, and what we're going to do is we're going to be selling them a first name, last name, email address. It's important to know if it comes from an email publisher that this person was just in their inbox, which means they were just a clicker. And if they were just a clicker, if we sell that to Retail Me Not, they should be getting a good open rate because they're used to going in their inbox. For example, if we're sending something to one of Jim's offers, right, and it comes from our push, it should be a good user because they're active on their push notifications. So, correct. Same thing with email. When you get traffic from email and we're selling it to someone that's going to do email, it does, so much better.
We see push, if someone subscribes from clicking on an email or an SMS ad, they don't perform as well. They're still okay, but they don't perform as well as someone who signed up from push from clicking on a different push.
Got it. All right. Cool. Let's see. So if you were to start your own lead gen business from scratch today, what channels would you focus on first for generating those leads? And I guess I'll start with you, Jim, you're on the traffic side. Like, what's hot? What's good?
I mean, the biggest channels, for us are fintech, financial verticals, things around personal loans, insurance is still good. Auto insurance specifically has been a good vertical. We do a lot of investment type stuff, like sign up for Advisor Match, some of our biggest deals right now from Smart Asset. Anything along that vein that just financial. We collect a lot of users from resource websites, people looking for advice on finances, so we tend to do really well with those types of offers.
Got it. Cool. Andrew, on your side.
Yeah, it's what's hot. I mean, the keynote earlier that he was talking about, he sat there and said, everything's bad right now, right? The market's going down. We're in a bear market in the S&P today. Like, everything is not doing well. What does that do? It hits the subprime type users, right? Our websites are very subprime heavy. So if you think about it, if you can get into those markets that save money, I think I was saying to Sam yesterday and Peter today that pharmaceutical RX cards are doing very, very well for us right now. Why? Saving money, right? People can't afford to go get a prescription. Yeah. As Jim said, these financial type of sites, we do a lot in the debt business, in the credit card debt, the tax debt, any way that someone could be making money. Another big one right now for us is legal, is the mass torts. Mass torts has a whole conference in Vegas twice a year that they have thousands of people come. If you can find that needle in the haystack and you can get someone to sign up that had cancer with, because they use Roundup, you could be making a lot of money. I know, emailers, for example, they do a lot of CPM drops for these mass tort deals. It's huge. So if you look at those verticals and then you look at the channels, we're also big in the call business. So if we get someone on the phone and just say they're not qualified for auto insurance because we find out they're in debt, it's a good downsell to get them to a credit card debt buyer that's going to help them consolidate their debt.
Simon, on your end, like a setup standpoint and on the technical side, like what are the important things to look for and do when starting a lead gen business from scratch?
Yeah, so the first thing on this is, at the moment, it's a great time for lead gen, right? It always does well in recessions.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
there aren't really like good or bad offers, I suppose. Financial services is always massive in lead gen anyway.
Yep.
And yeah, it'll just keep going up. So everyone in lead gen, as sad as it sounds, does really well in a recession. So in terms of setup, I think if I was starting it, that was the question, right? If I was starting a lead gen campaign. So the first thing I'd do is you either want to find an underserved market or you want to create a niche or a niche within a saturated market. So I'd concentrate on building offers. And in terms of the technical setup, it's all about like validation, setting up condition sets and qualifying leads internally in systems, creating ping trees so you can send out to multiple offers. Setting all your APIs up so that you're delivering leads in real time and creating feedback loops from the buyers of leads so that you can start optimizing for sales, not for leads.
Yep. And like as somebody setting up a new lead gen campaign, are there any specific signs or like KPIs to be looking for that for like potential fraud, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, the fraud changes depending on the channel that you're driving traffic from, right? So there's quite a lot of fraud in affiliate because obviously people grab the links and bang out everywhere. But this is why like tracking leads at a granular level. So if you're buying leads, for example, that means knowing the keyword, knowing the ad, knowing the landing page, knowing the source, the subsource, and everything else. And then when the lead buyer buys it, they can track the conversions back to those points rather than turning overall channels off, which is what you normally see, right?
Right.
So you work with like a big advertiser and they go, oh, we're going to turn affiliate off because it doesn't work. If you track the granular moments, what you realize is some of it doesn't work, but there'll be loads that are over-indexing the sales. So it's a bit like what Michael was talking about with tracking back to Google yesterday. It's a similar sort of principle. It's all in like the granular details and following those, but very few buyers of leads or large buyers of leads do it. But it's the same thing that lead generators do.
Yeah, one thing that I'm seeing more and more, and it's getting bigger and bigger, is pre-pings. So, and it's working both ways. So if we're working with an advertiser and they're buying data from us, we might ping their database first. If they have that person already, we're not going to show the offer because we're not going to get paid on it. Mm-hmm. So your impressions, it's going to do better on your sites. Now, vice versa, I'm also just called Jim's traffic. If he wants to ping me first, I might be able to choose the users that I don't have in my database that aren't unique, or maybe it's Medicare season and I'm looking for 65 plus. And if he pings me, I might be able to pay him double the amount that I would have paid him without a pre-ping. And one, I should get better quality, and that should be able to make Jim more money as well.
So, I mean, the topic earlier today was how we're kind of going into this doom and gloom. The economy sucks, or it's going to suck, right? Does that change anything in terms of the types of verticals? We talked about some that are doing really well, but are there any verticals that you guys see going down right now or trending downward?
Yeah.
Energy?
Yeah.
All right.
No one's buying energy.
At all.
They're all screwed, all the energy companies.
I mean, we see it in mortgage.
Yeah, mortgages.
Yeah, mortgage. We were talking last night that it was all refi for years, and now it's all cash out, cash out, cash out. The only thing that's still doing well is reverse mortgage, which whoever doesn't know, it's for an over 62 type play that you can basically take a loan out in your house that you only have like $150,000 left on your mortgage. But mortgage, obviously, but the verticals I spoke about earlier, I mean, more people can be in debt, right? It's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Anything different on, that you see, Jim, or same thing there?
mortgages, because we were running a lot of mortgages through last year. That's slowed down. I mean, it still hasn't gone away, but it's slowed down.
Yep. Got it. Cool. So once you have like a steady flow of leads coming in, what's the best way to keep growing it and really scaling that? Andrew, let's start with you.
Yeah. So to this question with your sales pipeline, I was actually just talking to Curt about this outside before. We have a program, and I know Everflow does also, that we have SDRs. And I was telling Curt that we don't have our SDRs put their sales title in their signature as SDR, because who wants to talk to an SDR? No offense to the couple SDRs that are here.
Everybody loves to talk to our SDRs.
But when you're actually reaching out, if you put yourself as an account executive, you probably get more people that are going to respond to you. But talking about once you have your pipeline of leads, it's all about partnerships. Mm-hmm. It's all about growing these partnerships. Coming here, I have a very good relationship with Jonathan, Sam, Peter, everyone at Everflow. Just building partnerships here and them recommending people to me is always a good way to keep your pipeline, right? The other thing is, and a lot of the sites that we all do business on, there's leads right there, right? I mean, you can go into anyone's TCPA list and you can see who everyone's working with, right? You can go on anyone's site and
to be clear, the TCPA list that's like public information.
It's public information. It has to be.
They want. Yeah.
You can set up a seed email, right? And you can see every email that you get posted to you. So when you sit there, it's always about building the partnerships, getting referrals from your clients that you've built good relationships with, and move on from there.
Got it. Good deal. And then Jim, once you start having a campaign that's starting to really scale, what are the next steps to really take it to the next level?
In our system, it kind of auto scales. Like we're big on getting creatives, getting CTR from a push, because from a push you get very limited creative. It's like 5 or 6 words. So once we get good CTR and the offers are converting, then we just push it even more to more users.
Got it. And then Simon, on your end, when you see campaigns really start to scale, like what type of mistakes do you see people make?
They stop exploring other channels. So when that channel tanks, they're screwed. But
they just pop champagne and are chilling.
Exactly. So it sort of depends who we're talking about, right? But if I approach it from a lead generator's point of view, I mean, what I'd probably do is always invest some of my budget into alternate channels. So if I don't know, PPC's blowing up and I can see this scaling, I'd still go and explore like social, affiliate, native, whatever. So never put all the money in it. And the other is creating other offers. So the guy who spoke yesterday with Zach, I think his name was Brooke at inbounds.com.
Yep.
Yeah. So he was, David Brooks, he was like a perfect example, right? So he'd realized that he needs to create other offers because they were getting loads of traffic. Right. And what happens when you generate one lead, effectively, if you're a lead generator and you think more like a brand, you just create other offers in other verticals and start using that same lead and sending it to the other one. So
really monetizing that lead in multiple different ways,
opportunity is more in, obviously keep the traffic flowing and things, but it's just exploring all these other things and not getting complacent because you think it's going really well at the moment.
Right.
Because it always changes, right?
So David does a lot of that with us, that he comes up with a concept, it's the same back-end type of thing.
Exactly.
To see if it would work on our type of traffic, and then he starts building it out. And diversification is obviously huge.
Absolutely.
And lead nurturing as well. And I don't mean lead nurturing as into other offers. I mean lead nurturing, so you're sending leads and like 20% convert, 80% are sitting there. And none of the rest convert because everyone really sucks at lead nurturing. They're just like absolutely horrific at it because they all go after the sale rather than just trying to give massive value to the user.
Right.
It's just like anything, right? When you buy it, no one wants to be sold to, hence why SDRs, no one wants emails from them. But if you just start, I do, by the way, but if you start giving massive value to people, that's like, that's the thing that draws them in. They start talking about your brand, the lead generation brand, rather than the brands that you're selling the leads to.
Totally.
That's where you want to get to.
our SDRs are full of knowledge bombs and value, so don't you worry there. So we talked a little bit about fraud before, but Andrew, I'm kind of curious on your side. Being an advertiser, how do you deal with fraud? How do you identify it? And
Yeah. There's a couple things. Like obviously, we use Google reCAPTCHA. As much as I'm sure Jonathan knows more than I know about Google reCAPTCHA, but you can have different levels, right? You can do easy to hardest. We use different things like Bright Verify and email oversight and different cleaning tools as well. But it's just common sense, in my opinion. If you're working with a network and there's a sub ID that all of a sudden you has 85% or 90% conversion rate, and they're not pre-popping, what the hell's going on here, right? So that's why we always test very small, and we never allow, for different things to happen. Also, look at your user logs. Jonathan can tell you a lot about that. It's important to understand everywhere where traffic's coming from, and there's fraud that you have these people in whatever country just writing bots and whatever it is, or there's people trying to incentivize you, which we don't take any incentivized traffic, or there's just criminal fraud that people are just stealing your APIs. So you just you be smart about it. And if you start seeing different trends, then guess what? You got to dig into it. You dig into it, then you start banning them, right?
Yep.
And you start telling people about it, right?
Yeah.
We're all a good community, right? If
a tight community,
if
right?
this person comes to me, I don't want them to go to to Jim, right? And it's important. That's why you see these Facebook channels about fraud. It's important to be out there.
Yep, absolutely. And then Simon, on your side, I know we talked a little bit about fraud, but what are like some of the advanced type of fraud that you see come through the platform?
Fraud basically comes in two ways. So it's either three ways: bots, click farms, or we call it low-level deception, which is like someone just trying to send you a load of list data and pretend they're leads. So a bit like what Andrew was saying, you basically need like loads of different methods of catching it. Not one thing will ever work.
Yeah.
So for example, like low-level deception, where someone's like list dumping you on an API and leads, and they'll time it, right? I actually have people ask me, oh, by the way, can you have it so that we can send leads every 30 seconds past the minute? And I'm like, look, I can't help you with fraud, but if you just want to send them in real time, that's up to you. But stuff like deny trusted form is great for low-level deception, right? Because you've got this, it's a bit like a proof of identity, whereas it was generated here. What most advertisers focus on, I have people going to me like, have you got a salacious names list? I'm going, yeah, I've got like loads of swear words, just record me for half an hour and I'll give them all to you. But the reality is so little fraud is made up of like Mickey Mouse stuff, right? There's no value in it. This is what everyone misses. Like if it's a bot or a serious fraudster, you will never know that it's not a human being. And that's what they want, because that's when they get paid. And this is what everyone misses. The threat isn't in bollocks, twat, whatever. And even with verification, you need that because you do get like the low-level fraud. But the reality is it's real people, real contact details, everything. And you've got to have like IP lookup stuff, like a Nora verification, honeypot fields, trusted form, denier. Just basically, if you're going to be serious about lead generation and removing this fraud, because it's just going to, all it does is impact conversion rates, right? It just pisses everyone off. So
yep, absolutely.
You basically have to just chuck everything at it. I've written loads of stuff on this on LinkedIn, by the way. Just scroll back to like 4 weeks ago. There'll be 10 ways of eliminating it.
Yeah, all right, good deal. Fun fact for those that are using Everflow, which is everybody here, we have like a click-to-conversion time report. So like what we see with a lot of different clients is after you start getting a decent amount of leads through, you see what is a normal time frame for somebody to convert. Then you start, it's kind of like what you were talking about before. You wanted, one of your clients wanted you to help them commit fraud and only send them every, minute 30 seconds. But with the report, you can actually see really clearly when things are outliers and even automatically block that traffic. That's my plug for Everflow.
Yeah,
Jim. Jim, on the traffic side, I mean, it's all your traffic, so you clearly don't have any fraud. But how do you potentially identify fraud on the traffic side?
I mean, we see, I mean, we do see bots can sign up for push notifications. So we do get some behavior where we'll get super high clicks because somehow a bot can even get a hold of our redirect links from a push notification. I don't know how, but we track those because if clicks are sort of growing too quickly, our guys are able to look at IP addresses, and we're able to block and unsubscribe users based on behavior. We've got some automation as well that automates unsubscribing users if they have certain characteristics.
Got it. Very good.
So there's one more point on that as well. I think this is why feedback loops in lead generation are so important. Because if you're not optimizing for sales, we've said it already, you're optimizing for leads. And fraudsters want leads, right?
Right.
Because it's not being attached to anything. So this feedback loop of what's generating the sales, because you can usually catch it, a bit like what you were saying with the reporting, immediately, because instantly you can go, well, hold on, we've had 1,000 leads from this one subsource, and not one has converted. And so if you don't have that feedback loop and they've managed to get through everything else, it's, you're going to be paying for those leads, no conversions.
That's why everybody should be tracking events in Everflow.
Exactly. So Everflow can do that, I heard.
Everything,
right?
yes, exactly. Exactly.
By the way, can we just give it up that this man came from the UK to speak today, and this man came from Tel Aviv?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. What up?
I came from Jersey.
Long flight for you, right, Andrew? Good deal. I know that we're coming up on time, but I think another fun question and a pretty important one are, what are the risks of lead generation and doing lead gen on your campaigns? Andrew, let's start with you on the advertiser side.
Risk? I mean, obviously fraud is a risk. If you're, one of the biggest risks I look at is, I call it the ABCDEFG rule, is that if you have an advertiser, let's just call it an auto insurance, and you're working with whoever it is, if you don't have 3 or 4 more advertisers within that vertical, if your A advertiser goes bye-bye, you're screwed, right? And you're not going to be able to, continue making the money and let it just flow. So I always call it the ABCD rule. I have, I know my team Orlando is watching right now on the live stream. It's the same thing with the publishers. If Jim is a big publisher of one of mine, I better have 2, 3, 4, 5 doing similar amounts of traffic, because if Jim, has some problems with the system and we can't get traffic, we need to fill it, right, and not fall apart. So it's very, very important. I really believe in that. It's the same thing with SDRs. If you have a pipeline, you always want it, because if your main one you're going after, and I know like Everflow has been going after GoodRx for a long time, right?
That's a sore spot, Andrew.
It's a sore spot. I'm helping there. But if you can sit there, right, and always have that pipeline of the ABCD, you should avoid risk. There's obviously plenty of other risk. I'll let these other guys go into, but email delivery. There's always, you always hear about robodialing and that kind of stuff. But we have the TCPA, right? Yep. We have CAN-SPAN Act of 2003. You look at Facebook and all these data privacies, like we have, in Europe, the GDPR. In California, you got the, the CAA, whatever the California one is, right?
CCPA, yeah.
So it's, as long as that, you're upfront, right? Mm-hmm. And you're looking at everything and you have a backlog, right? We, back in the day, like 5 years ago, we were giving everything to AdSense. They screwed us, right? Now no one's more than 10%, right? So it's very important.
Got it. Jim, on your end, what risks do you see in starting a lead gen campaign?
I mean, the risks we have are on tracking. Tracking is a huge issue.
That's why you use Everflow, right?
It's one reason we use Everflow. But we wish our clients would use Everflow. Like we had an issue recently.
Us too.
Because our system scales based on the RPM and offer, and if the advertiser's not firing the pixels correctly, then we'll send more traffic and we'll think we're making money when we're actually not making money.
Or somebody screws up the integration, right? If they're not firing on the right
we
events
just had
and
a
everything.
$40,000 discrepancy last month on our biggest advertiser because I don't know,
That wasn't me, right?
that wasn't you.
Just to be clear.
I don't know.
And Simon, are there any other risks that you see on your side that
So I mean,
Sure.
we've touched on a few, but it's like lack of transparency is obviously a big one that feeds into fraud and stuff like that. I think we touched on one earlier, which was like when a campaign's doing well and you put all your eggs in one basket. I've seen this loads of times. That's why I'm saying you need to divest the budget when things are going well, like make hay when the sun shines. So that can be a problem. But the other is, it's really simple actually. It's just like marketing operations, because obviously we're a technology provider. For small companies that don't necessarily realize how much marketing operations feed into things like Databowl, Everflow, any other systems, you shouldn't take it lightly, right? Like you need people that sort of know what they're doing, that can create
100%.
flows, create webhooks, create APIs. So I see that as a problem. And what happens is, depending on the size of the company, you can have people that don't want to pay for someone to do it, and they can't do it themselves, and it just leads to problems further down the line.
Yep, 100%. Good deal. Well, are there any questions? All right. Very good. Well, thank you very much. Thanks, guys.